Welcome to this week's Whole Week Costa. For Kev, I'm Jay. Today we're going to be talking about episodes 7 and 8 of the Clone Wars. We're going to be ending a cliffhanger and starting a brand new cliffhanger.
Yeah, so these are two great episodes. So first episode, Duel of the Droids. Second episode, Bombad Jedi. Duel of the Droids. So episode 7, season 1, Anakin, Ahsoka, and replacement droid R3S6 embark on a dual rescue / sabotage mission where they discover R2D2 is being held at General Grievous's secret enemy listening post. And honestly, after watching Bombad Jedi, I'm trying to get back in the mindset of this episode because that was such a great episode, and I just watched it again right before we recorded. But anyway, this episode was great, and I feel like we can summarize the episode a little bit, and then we got to talk about droid rights.
All right.
What were your initial thoughts on this episode?
This episode, I thought it was pretty hilarious because R2 or sorry
R3.
No, we're already okay. We're on that one because I was thinking of the Jar Binks episode. Sorry. So yeah, no, I like I don't understand how they didn't know R3 was just a bad droid. Like, why didn't they switch him out and then wipe his memory?
Yeah, that's the thing that's kind of weird. Like, I feel like all the things that Jedi's can sense, and they couldn't figure out that this droid was, that something was wrong, and I feel like I don't know if this is we're gonna see this as a character flaw in Ahsoka later on. I mean, I feel like she just, I don't know. I almost hate to say this because it sounds like kind of sexist maybe, but I feel like she thought that Goldie was cute and like then gave him a chance for no reason. Like she didn't think about him objectively for some reason. Um, and then I don't know if that just clouded Anakin's judgment or if he just didn't think about it that much or if he just trusted her opinion so he didn't realize what was happening.
Well, to just give, I don't think it's. Well, I do think it's sexist because you're saying because Ahsoka's a female, but I think it's a humanoid thing where if you think something, well, she's not human, so it's humanoid. But I think I really do think it's something that if you think something's cute, like you tend to trust it a little more.
Yeah, and I feel like this is why we don't give them nicknames. Like,
yeah.
I feel like that just clouded everyone's judgment about Goldie. But yeah, but then the other thing too, I mean, after R3 messed up so badly on the ship in the last episode, like I feel like they just want to replace him, like whether it was a spy or not. Like, I mean, maybe they're just out in the middle of nowhere and they didn't have a replacement. But I don't know. Yeah, I just don't see going on a potentially life-threatening rescue mission. Which I guess too, like, what does that say about them that they're so Jedi are so OP in general, or they're so overconfident at least that they were willing to go on a life and death mission with this total liability in tow.
Or the fact that we revealed and found out last week that before every mission they do a memory wipe on these droids. So before using a brand new droid, there's no reason why they shouldn't have just memory wiped it and like, okay, it's fresh, now it has a nav computer. Like, why didn't they do that? That's really stupid. Anakin's just a stupid person.
Yeah, true. I wonder what. So apparently in the like behind the episode sort of thing, it was reported somewhere that R3 was a legitimate Republic droid, and then he was captured and reprogrammed by the Separatists. So I wonder if the reprogramming would have like stayed in place even if his memory was wiped. Like I wonder how how intense the memory wipe is, if it just resets them back to factory programming or if it just wipes out any new stuff they've learned since the last wipe. Like I'm not sure.
Yeah, but I think if a droid's captured, like that droid to me, like as a general or whatever, like, oh, we got the droid back. And then I would just go, okay, we're gonna trash it. Like we're gonna use its parts for other, repairing because you don't know what they've done.
Yeah, well, true. And then same with this. How do we know that they couldn't have done something like that to R2?
Yeah.
Um,
Like World War II. Imagine if the Germans captured like a whole bunch of like American tanks, and then like we got them back. Like, wouldn't you just go, "I'm gonna blow those tanks up," because they definitely sabotage those tanks, or like take them apart to make sure, not just like, "All right, guys, hop in it and go."
Yeah, and it's kind of a shame. And I mean, I guess they could do something like this, but then like close the loop. But this is the sort of the problem with this being a constrained story within other movies is that a really good heartbreaking reveal later would be that R2 was reprogrammed. They have to destroy him in the future or something. But like I said, that can't really happen with what we know happens in the future.
Oh yeah, yeah, that story's already written.
But yeah, so I was thinking about I started looking at first droid naming conventions because I wanted to figure out exactly how they're named because I just feel like one letter, one number. Well, I guess two letters, two numbers. I just feel like you would run out of letters and number combinations, right? like, I
Yeah.
mean,
Well, I mean,
maybe there just aren't that many droids. I mean, I guess when we talked about the scale of the Republic Army last time, again, it wasn't like Warhammer scale. So I guess they might just not have that many droids that they're not going to run out of that simple naming convention anytime in the near future.
I mean, yeah, so you get eh, maybe there are like double digit numbers, but if you keep the 0 through 9, like you'll run out pretty quick because it's 26 0 through 9 twice. So I mean, you'll probably get thousands of droids. I mean, there's a formula we could just figure it out real quick, but I don't know the name of the formula, so I'm not going to look it up.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's a article I read in a newspaper like a couple weeks ago. It's like the alphabets of the alphabet soup. It's about the naming conventions of uh different like the FBI, CIA, and then all the other small things you use for computers and everything, and like the conventions of the alphabet soup. Like like you look at it on a small scale, you're like, oh, surely you'll run out. But then you can have different things. So it's like you have you know, AGE could stand for a million different things, but you go, oh, AGE, like what? Oh, finance or automobiles, so you get that additional thing. So you can get R2D2 and you go, oh, the navigation droid. No, we're talking about the battle droid. And so you get an additional, naming for everything. So that could be it too.
Like if you think WWC podcast, you think Holy Costa. If you think WWC other stuff, then there's other meanings.
Yeah. But you get I know that was very boring, but you get what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, and two, I guess it is. I guess it's really a four digit combination of things.
Right.
So assuming all. Well, I guess, but they refer to them as R2 units, right? So I mean that's the
Right.
type of thing he is. So then it really is only the letter and number combination that you could change. So you have A through Z and then 1 through 9 and all the combinations of that. So yeah, I don't know. I wonder if they continue to, well, but what probably happens, it's only one generation, right? Because then Goldie is a newer R3 unit. So it's not like they're
Right.
going to make 100,000 of these. They're going to make one line, and then they're going to develop the next generation and make R3s, then R4s, then R5s. All right, yeah, so I think it can work. um, but
It
yeah, I was
says
looking.
here it says here there could be 1,296 R2 units.
Yeah, so I mean, that might be all there are. I mean, if you think about just the size of the army, and only part of that would be fighter ships that would have R2 units on there. Different, astromech droids, I guess is what they're called. Um,
Right. There is a droid on Wikipedia. It is R2Z13. So I think it goes past 2 digits.
okay. So in that case, then you can have a lot more. But yeah, I was thinking about droid rights though, and if you watch the Solo movie, I think they did and we talked about how much we like that movie, but I think they did sort of a bad job. It became sort of a joke, the droid rights stuff in that, but it is a really important topic like outside of that movie because I mean even R2, who's an astromech droid, and he's not really like, it's not like he's you know I feel like those aren't normally the most sentient droids, but for whatever reason, we see that R2 clearly is by his actions in this episode. And then the fact that they just wipe their memories. There's a quote from a 2-1B surgical droid that's pretty good. It says, "Right for sentient organics is right for us too. And yet, unlike the organic species, we are constantly subjected to memory wipes and reprogramming that repress and destroy our natural tendency towards self-programming, evolution, and independent thought. Imagine what it would be like as a child if you were punished by being dragged to a dark closet, having a probe inserted in your brain, and having all your memories back to infancy wiped away. You'd awaken knowing how to eat, care for yourself, do your chores, and obey, and all the things that made you unique, your hopes, your meticulously selected default values and preference sets would be gone forever. That is what it is to be a droid." So, I mean, that's pretty bad, right?
Yeah. Well, Michio Kaku, right?
Yeah.
Well, he talks about how like these like aliens, like why haven't we seen aliens? And we can't even get past Mars, let alone intergalactic travel or space travel or close to light speeds, and so why would aliens come visit us? Because they see us like an ant, like we would see an ant. So I really feel like these people are still seeing droids as ants, or even like there's two arguments to farming animals where people go, there's no difference between the chickens and the corn that we're raising. That's why we shouldn't treat it. So maybe
Yeah.
they're looking at them as chattel. It's our, we do what we want.
Well, this is a really important future to be because I mean, this is the thing, right? Because I mean, right now, I mean, you wouldn't say your computer has any rights, right? I mean, it can do a lot of programming and stuff, but it doesn't think for itself. But I mean, eventually, we're going to have more and more artificial intelligence. Like if you have, if you buy one of those like robots you can build that can walk around the house, or if you get a Roomba, I mean, the Roomba is making decisions. Like that feels a little more like a living thing because you see it move and make decisions, but it still isn't anywhere near like it can't make any decisions on its own, it's just following the programming. But I mean, eventually, once we get what you consider artificial intelligence, then I mean, what makes that thing then different? If it can actually learn and make decisions for itself, what makes that thing different than I can't think of the word for like human intelligence, for a
Consciousness.
yeah, but I'm trying to think like an organic intelligence, like what's different,
Yeah,
once they reach the same level.
it's really two things. My opinion, it's really two things: consciousness and attachment. Like, how are you? Your what's your relationship with this thing? Like obviously, uh, Lando, and what's his droid's name?
I don't remember. Let me look up.
Yeah, but they had a relationship. That's an attachment. Like she had a consciousness. She kept learning and learning and learning, and she was closer to a human than anybody else. Like she even talked about sex and things that bothered her and George rights. Where like you see another person, they'd be like, "Oh, that's just a machine." That's something we own. And then like you could turn on and turn off. Like where's her, like, is it programmed conscious or is it part of her? Like, has she learned that over time? And then there's, relationships. Like if you had a toy that you loved for years and years and years, like and then your mom took it away from you one day and then you forgot about it and you saw it 10 years later, does that same relationship come back, or do you just throw it in the trash because you're cleaning out your mom's house?
L3, which I did not realize this really cringy detail, but she's L337, which is that elite thing, which is I feel like had to be intentional, is real cringy.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I don't know why they did that. But yeah, I don't know. It's yeah, it's a really hard topic. Did you play the Mass Effect games? Because I mean
No.
it comes up a lot in them. This topic. I mean, that's honestly probably the core debate of those games is what's the value of life, both sentient and both organic and artificial life, because there's multiple conflicts between organic and artificial life. It, the main probably really gut check moment in it, it's in I think the second game. So the story is there's a race of people that created these geth, these organic or these. Sorry, I don't know why I keep messing up my words. They created the
Don't
geth,
worry, I do it all the time.
which are these artificial intelligent robots that um, that they basically use as like a slave workforce, as I guess the subjugated race. And the Geth revolt against them and basically kick them off of their home planet. So then the organic race has to just travel in starships because they have no home planet. And you are fighting against the Geth initially. Before you find out who the real enemy is, you're fighting against the Geth a lot of the time. And you have the choice to take over this big Geth station, and you have the ability to either completely obliterate a whole sect of the Geth or to reprogram them. But it's this crazy choice because, I mean, again, they're artificial intelligence. Like, they're not just robots, they're actual like automaton. And so destroying them is genocide. If you consider artificially intelligent beings as, really sentient, or reprogramming them is, I mean, that's almost just as bad. I mean, you're not destroying them, but you're completely changing who and what they are. So it's this like two bad choices, or and in the game they make it like reprogramming them is like the good paragon choice, but I mean it's not really. You're brainwashing this whole race of people. Like it's kind of a crazy choice.
Dude, I mean, not to get into politics, but I just want to say this real quick. I mean, there's smaller choices like day to day now going on that like I don't even want to handle. You know what I mean? Like I'm really glad I'm not in politics right now because of all those choices. Like, oh, do you do this or don't you do this?
Well,
That's it's the most difficult thing I couldn't even think of. Like, I'm glad I don't have like you know, older kids that have to go to school because I'd be torn. Like, I can't even make that decision, let alone do I destroy an entire race.
well, speaking of politics, that segues us into the next episode, which is all about politics
Yeah.
and Jar Jar Binks.
So this is what I started off. This is what I started stuttering off in the beginning of the episode. I
Hmm.
I love how the troopers know that. Oh yeah, you want to go into the what it's about
Yeah, so
description?
official description. So Bombad Jedi Episode 8. On a diplomatic mission to the planet Rhodia, Padme discovers that her old friend and fellow Republic Senator Anakin has allied his planet with the Separatists. In exchange for food and resources for his people, Anaconda captures Padme and promises to deliver her to Newt Gunray. Sensing Padme is in trouble, Jar Jar Binks disguises himself as a Jedi and, with the help of C-3PO, courageously fights to rescue his friends and fellow senator.
So, hey, I love this episode. It was like a great political episode. It was, them trying to get this system on, the Republic side instead of separatist side. But my favorite part is though that the clone troopers are like, no, trust me, Jar Jar is such a mess up. We should send him over to negotiate because he'll mess their entire lines up, and their plan works. And then one guy's like, "Well, what if he dies?" He's like, and he's like, "He won't." Like that, kind of like he won't.
Yeah, I thought this was a great introduction for Jar Jar because a lot of people didn't like Jar Jar from the movies, and when I was writing my notes, I wrote "effing Jar Jar" like 3 times. And I mean, essentially, what they do, so they subvert our expectations because in the beginning they show us this annoying friggin' Jar Jar that we see in the movies where he messes everything up. And like C-3PO makes fun of him, and he says like Misa, and C-3PO is like, "Yup, Yusa," and like even C-3PO is like over his crap.
Yeah,
Um,
the most patient droid in the universe.
so
He's a protocol droid. He knows all the protocol.
yeah, so I mean, he destroys the ship. He hurts C-3PO. He almost gets captured. Like he messes up all these things. But I mean, in the end, he was right. By trying to do something. I mean, at least he's brave. By I don't know. I guess I feel like Jar Jar is like that. Is it? I don't know if it's actually a Teddy Roosevelt quote. The thing about how the best thing you can do is the right thing. The next best thing is the wrong thing, and the worst thing you can do is nothing. Like that's Jar Jar Binks, basically. He's at least going to do something. He's not going to sit around and wait to be rescued. So, I mean, that's the good thing you can say about him. But what I loved about this was they set out the expectation at the beginning and were like, oh, yeah, this is going to be this Jar Jar stuff that I don't like.
It is Theodore Roosevelt. In any moment of decision, the best thing you could do is the right thing. The next best thing is the wrong thing, and the worst thing you could do is nothing.
Yep, it's a great quote. But by the end of this episode, Jar Jar is the hero, and you see why he's valuable. So, and they actually, the senator from Rhodia basically thinks he really is a Jedi at the end. I'm pretty sure he thinks that, although I don't know. I don't know if he's just saying that out of respect after he saved them, or if he really doesn't know who he is at that point, because they're both senators, so he should probably know him, right?
I thought Jar Jar was a senator's aide.
No, I think he's actually a senator. Let me see.
Yeah, well, if he is a senator, it would be from the other side of Naboo.
Gungan, male military commander, politician, and I apologize for anyone who already knows this answer. I think he is. I'm not. The Jar Jar article is real long, so I was affiliation. Oh, it just says Galactic Republic. It doesn't say it definitely if he's. It just says Galactic Republic Naboo delegation. So maybe it's not. I mean, maybe there's also they definitely called him senator at some point. Maybe that's also just an honorific, not that he's like literally a senator.
Well, that's the thing though. Like he is heroic in his own mind. I mean, he's a bumbling fool, but like to be honest with you, I wouldn't want him on the same ship with me, but I definitely want him on the same side as me.
Yeah, and you see his value, right? Just by plowing ahead and by moving forward, even though he messes a lot of stuff up, he eventually finds the answer and he does what he's good at, right? I mean, he is a politician and he recruits an ally to help him. Like that's what right. that's sort of the superpower that politicians are supposed to have.
He's a good friend.
Yeah, exactly. He does. He saves the day with the power of friendship.
Yeah, like he's a good friend, but he's your own worst enemy too. So,
but what I initially was thinking about with this when is, I mean, I don't know, is the Empire a little bit like 2020 America, because they sort of forget about their ally here, and then their ally rebels against them or has hard feelings against them. And I mean, I don't know. I mean, how many times as an American, how many times has that happened where we haven't treated our allies the best?
Well, they're going over there and they're like, Amidala's going to the system. It's like, we'll give you food and water. And I'm like, yeah, but the separatists said they're going to give us food and water. But here's the thing. I really do believe the public is there to like ally with them to give them food and water, where the separatists are like, we're just going to kill all you guys and then use your planet as a base.
Well, they are. But Onaconda's point is that's fine. But how many people have already starved? Like, you already forgot about us. Like, this should have happened a long time ago. So, and again, I mean, not talking about the political party, not getting too political, but I mean, I just feel like this has happened in America where we could have done more for our allies, or we could have done more for, I mean, what a lot of people in America consider lesser countries, whether, I mean, obviously the people of those countries aren't lesser, but I mean, I'm not speaking for me, but speaking for, the country, I think there's people that look at third world countries and think they're lesser than us, but yet we have the chance to help them with aid or help them with infrastructure, and we don't, so, I mean, it's a similar thing to this. This is an outlying planet that doesn't have the resources that some of the main Republic planets have, or the Republic has as a whole, and the Republic's just forgotten about them. And again, not to just harp on the point, but I feel like that happens in first versus third world countries in our world too. And then we wonder why third world why then bad things happen in third world countries when people that can help them don't help them, or again help them help themselves. Like, I don't know, this was just a little bit too real world, here. Sort of some of the implications of the overarching theme of this episode.
To like, I can't answer your question because I don't really have the answer without saying something stupid. Like, so that's like if somebody actually asked me that question, like I would have to sit there and think about it. But I am going to say one thing about what you said. I think one of the biggest issues is the fact that we label countries as first and third world countries.
That's a good point.
Yeah,
That's why I was hesitant to talk about it, because, like, again, I don't want to make it sound like, you know that I think any less of any other country or any other people of any other country.
right.
But that is how we label it in our world. And then I feel like that dehumanizes the people of these, third
Yeah.
world countries. Again, just that's the term we have. I feel like it dehumanizes those people, where then, people in a country like ours where we have plenty of resources. And I mean, honestly, we don't even do a good job of taking care of the people in our own country.
Right. But
Um,
if you actually look at the definition of the original definition of first and third world countries, it's just countries that like first world is countries that participated in the Cold War. Second world are people
Interesting.
that were basically where we mined our uranium from that didn't participate but kind of. And then third world are countries that didn't participate in the Cold War at all. So and that has like escalated to that's escalated to like poor and rich. People get that misconception, but I mean, poor is just what's in your mind. Like, there's something, I saw on the internet where it's like I guess it's a meme, and like you see these three guys drinking, have a good time, and they show like their debt. And like one guy's like they're all like $100,000 in debt, but they have a nice car and they're dressed all nice. And you see a homeless guy and you see his money, it's a 17, like it's a plus $17. And you're like, poor is just a state of mind. I mean, there's poverty and poor, they're two different things.
Yeah, yeah, that's true, and that's interesting. I never heard the definition of those terms, and that tells you how sort of useless those terms are today in their initial sense, because we don't even talk about second world countries. We literally just, at least in America, when we say it to mean like what we consider rich versus poor countries.
Right, and then you take it on the boo. The boo, the humanoid, the humans on the boo,
Hmm.
they consider themselves a first world country, whereas the Gungans on Naboo, they're like the third world country. They don't have technology, an army, and all that other stuff. So it's like there's that divide there because you're looking at like technically advanced backwoods, but the Gungans are happy. You know what I mean? It doesn't affect them. Their definition of poor and rich are different.
That's what I mean. So they built this really great world where it's just all these layers. Then it's like our world multiple times over. Like I said, at least in America, it's the same way. We have more affluent, and me and you. I mean, we live in a more affluent part of the country. So we live in a more affluent part of a more affluent country. So we're really lucky where we are, and where we were born, basically.
Yeah.
At least socioeconomic wise. But we have poor parts of our country that we, as the more affluent part, don't do much to help, honestly. And then we have less affluent parts of the rest of the world that we also could do more to help. And it's the same things happening here. I mean, the Republic has just totally forgotten about Rhodia, and it's going to let them starve because they just not even, it's not like they don't like them, they just don't notice them, they just forgot about them. Like, and
Yeah,
that's really
well,
harsh. Like, you know
the
I mean, these
people
are
in the
people on
Republic
Rhodia.
the people in the Republic are probably putting on their Instagram pages, "We love Rhodia," and,
Yeah.
"Heart for Rhodia," and it's like, you're not actually doing anything. It's just like you said about America. There's millions of people that are posting, stuff on their Instagram, their Facebook, or their Twitter. "Oh, we support this and we support that," and it's like, yeah, that's great you support it, but do something about it. If you really wanna change it,
But
you
did they
know?
catch Coney? Did they catch Coney?
Did they catch Cody?
Coney.
Coney?
Remember Coney
Oh,
2012,
oh,
whatever it
Coney?
was? Yeah, it was 2012. I don't remember. The thing I don't
Yeah.
remember because no one did anything about it. They just posted about it on social media.
Yeah, or like Blackout Tuesday, that happened once. Shouldn't that be
Yeah,
every Tuesday?
yeah. Um,
Well,
I
I
mean,
mean,
I
now
mean,
now that you, like, think about it.
I would say we'll talk about this off air because now we're getting because I don't want to get into specific politics, but
All I
um,
wanna say, no politics,
yeah.
but all
Well,
I wanna say is, like, when you start thinking about this show, like, you start realizing why this has been, like, considered one of the greatest shows of all time.
yeah, yeah, it's really good. Um, yeah. Oh man, yeah. I'm not going to say what I want to say. I
Alright,
honestly think most people would agree with the opinion. But yeah.
yeah, so alright, well, we good on this?
Oh man, yeah, I think so. We kind of got all. Yeah, I guess we've sort of talked about everything we're going to talk about.
Yeah. Well, tune in next week for the thrilling conclusion of this two-parter on Whole Wheat Costa. For Kev, I'm Jay. You can catch us on YouTube, Spotify, Stitcher, Libsyn, and Apple Podcast. Thanks for listening. And I hope you enjoy it.